No, I'm not going to turn it on.
Just leave it.
Yeah. You reckon?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it
It'll
kind of
just
ruins the background
yeah.
as well, but anyway. Alright guys, we are recording episode number 12 of Your Safe Space. You guys are seeing firsthand I've got a special co-host, but I'm going to start the recording and we're going to jump right in.
Jumping straight in.
Wait, do you want to practice run or
No,
ready?
Let's go straight in.
We're going to press the recording in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Your Safe Space, the podcast. I'm your host, Adele Maree, and this podcast is here for you. It is a safe space for us to catch up each week to discuss anything and everything. And today, guys, we are talking all things friendship breakups. Now, thank you firstly for coming back. If you are watching the vodcast, you'll see I've got a special guest in the studio with me today. I've got my best friend, Sue. Say hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so excited for this episode. When I put up the poll for this week, I didn't realize that we would get so much interest in this episode, and then I just thought I'm going to quickly text you, see what your plans are today, and you were free, and I thought, do you want to come on the podcast with me? And she said yes.
Yes, it worked out perfectly.
So a big thank you for joining me. Thank you guys for also coming back. I am grateful as always. And I just think before we jump in, I want to have a little intro for Suze. So I'll quickly give my intro. Suze is probably one of my longest friends. I've actually spoken about her on the podcast before. I told our story, I think, in the Making Friends episode because we met while we were holidaying in Europe.
We met in 2014, so that's like 8 years.
Yes. Oh, you went back and got the year. Thank you. So one of my longest friends, and I think she's an amazing human. She's a light in my life, and I know that she will bring lots of value to this podcast. So I'm so happy that she's here, and I'm going to hand it over to you. Give us a little intro about yourself.
Hi, I'm Suze. So my background's in the beauty industry, but I'm currently working as a flight attendant at the moment. What else? I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
She does, guys. She's amazing.
And yeah, I'm Adele's friend, and that's me.
We need to know, what star sign are you?
I am a Gemini.
We love it. We love it. That Aries Gemini duo.
Yeah.
I love Geminis. I love Suze. You guys know we also start every episode the same way. So we usually do a highlight, something we're grateful for. And so today I'm going to get Suze's highlights and her grateful option as well. So what is your highlight from this week?
Today's the highlight. You picked me up. It's been we're having a good day. So definitely doing this with you.
And what is one thing that you're grateful for?
I'm grateful for daylight savings, the sun's out, and summer's coming.
Stop. I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, well.
Grateful for the sun.
Yeah, I feel that. I also even said today, no, not today, like this week on TikTok, I was like, I feel like my seasonal depression is over now.
It's literally over. As soon as the sun came out, it just disappeared.
Yeah, we love daylight savings. I am going to give you my highlight. I went on a date last night, guys. And it was really good. So that's my highlight of the week. And I think I need to give a different gratitude because I can't copy Suze's answer. So I'm going to say I'm grateful for the Facebook community, which we started this week, and you guys will hopefully already be a part of. If you're not, you can sign up. You can join the Facebook group and we can go from there. I'm adding in another quick question for Suze because this podcast is all about looking after yourself, taking care of yourself, and I thought I could ask you what your favorite act of self-care is, or what you do to fill your cup up.
Actually, my favorite thing that I do right now is I sleep with sleep affirmations because I recently discovered that my love language is words of affirmations.
Oh my gosh.
And it really helps you wake up literally different. So that's my favorite.
And so while you're asleep, it plays the affirmations in your head?
Yeah, so you just jump on YouTube, find one that has a certain theme that you need, and then put it really low because if it's too loud, you will literally stay awake. And then you just sleep and you feel great.
I'm going home and doing that tonight.
Yeah, it's good.
That's such a good idea because that would be really good for your subconscious.
Yeah, reprogramming your subconscious mind, I am blah blah blah, and then you just listen to it, whatever you choose. It's really good. There's some good ones.
Wow, guys, that is great. Thank you for sharing that. We are going to jump into today's episode. We are delving into the topic of friendship breakups. Now, I actually have gone a bit rogue this week because I thought, well, I've got Suze, I need to jam pack the episode. So I've got a few topics that we're going to cover off. In the first part of the show, we're going to go through why friendship breakups happen and what they look like. And we have some stories to tell. A bit of a story time. Also going to go through how to make it through a friendship breakup. So both sides, like whether you're the person ending the friendship or you're the person that has had the friendship ended. And then we're also going to chat about what makes a good friend. And I'm going to go through some like friendship green flags and some friendship red flags, because I think it's always really important to identify kind of what we want when it comes to friendship, and what better way to do it than with one of my very good friends here today. And then we will jump into the listener questions. So do you want to read out our listener questions, Suze?
Okay, so the first one is, do you ghost your friend or do you mention not wanting to remain friends? And the other one is, oh, we got a few.
We got 4.
We got a few. How do you approach your friend / tell your friend what's bothering you without it becoming conflict? How do you deal with friendship breakups when you're in the same group? And how to move forward with trusting new people after a friend betrayal.
Oh, these are juicy questions. I'm excited. You guys submitted all these questions in the Q&A on the Your Safe Space pod, and not a lie, I have never had so many questions come through. It's a hot topic. And I think the reason that it's a hot topic, and we're going to jump straight into unpacking why friendships breakups happen, but it is so common to happen. And
Because,
I think,
yeah, we're used to relationship breakups and no one has a clue what to do with friends.
yeah, and it hurts the same, and sometimes
It's the same.
if not worse.
Yeah, because you might have memories together and longer friendships than relationships, so true.
It can be brutal, and I think it's something that we all struggle with, but I don't think that we also talk about it. And I also think that what I kind of want to do in this episode is normalize that some friendships will last forever and some friendships won't last forever.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed as well, and I'm going to say we're the same age, we're both 29. What I've learned, especially going through like high school and like my early 20s, is like life is seasonal.
Yep.
And you grow and you evolve. And
what's the saying? For a reason or a season?
Yes. Oh my, yes.
It is, yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
I'm just going to fix this camera because I want you to come into it a little bit more. Sorry guys, we are just fixing up the YouTube camera, so if you want to watch this episode, go onto YouTube. But some of the reasons why friendship breakups occur, there's a few, but we're going to go through some of the reasons, and we'll just, I think, go one for one.
Yeah.
If you want to start off.
So it could be an event. That could be a fight, a mistreatment, betrayal, or something that causes a fracture in the friendship that can't be saved.
Those friendship breakups are brutal. I'm going to say the friendship has maybe become a bit toxic. So maybe the friendship is just adding some negativity to your life, bringing you down, making you feel bad about yourself. When you spend time with that person, you feel drained, all that kind of stuff.
General misunderstandings, which don't have to be something big, but can build up over time.
I think I've noticed that in some of my friendship breakups, and I'll tell you a story when we get there, but there was a friendship breakup that I went through where it wasn't just like one thing, but it was like constant things that kind of caused...
Keep showing up.
Yeah, and it's like...
build up.
It's death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah. Yes.
But it's the friendship that ends up crumbling in the end.
Yeah.
I'm going to say physical distance. So sometimes you might move away from your friends, and this is something that I know firsthand. When I moved interstate from Melbourne to Sydney in 2018, I was really scared to move because at the time I had what I thought was like a really good friendship group, and I had put a lot of energy and effort into my friendship group, and I saw that with that distance only some friendships survived. There were definitely friends I lost in that, and I think that is definitely a normal part of growing and evolving and moving into different chapters.
Yeah, so difference in values or beliefs and priorities, that comes with growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but when you're younger, the whole, like, your values and beliefs, I feel like, well, you're not sure what they are. It's easier to tolerate certain friendships, but once you become clear on your own values and beliefs, it's harder.
Yeah, exactly. And you might have the same beliefs, but then you turn into a different person as you do, and then they don't match anymore.
I'm going to say the next one is boundaries are crossed or not respected. So that can show up in a number of different ways. Could be you not wanting to do a certain thing and then being pressured into stuff. It could be you being pushed into things that aren't really what you want to do, which I don't think is a healthy thing to experience either.
Different stages of life, could be relationships, kids, marriage. This is huge for us. We're
Yeah.
29, so this is one that we are really seeing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that heavily. And I
Yeah.
think, and I guess I'm always so happy to see my friends in different stages, but it becomes a complete different ball game when I've got a friend that's got kids and married versus like me, who I have a dog and I work, but I don't have like all these other commitments to look after.
Yeah, and your kids with friends, like they've got real commitments. And,
Yeah.
you know, like of course you still stay friends, but you got to think of them as well. Like they're busy.
Yeah, and it just changes the dynamic.
It changes a lot.
I'm saying involvement with other people or things, so maybe it's like other friends can sometimes cause a friendship breakup. I've had that happen too, and I'll tell you guys that story. Sometimes it's like family that comes in between a friendship. Sometimes it's just life stress. I think some of my friendships have been tested when I've gone through really stressful periods, just because I've not been able to like be a good friend if I'm out there fighting for my life. But I've been really lucky that I've had friends in my corner who have stuck by me through that, but I think that can definitely play a part.
Yep. And then sometimes there is no reason, so the friendship's run its course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And on that, I want to say friendship breakups come in all shapes and sizes, and we're going to chat about what some of them look like. Now, I'm going to say the most common, and judging by what I got in the question box, was the drift apart.
Yeah.
You slowly start to make less effort with each other. You naturally just kind of slowly move away, and then you don't see each other, the effort's not there, and the friendship ends.
Exactly. It's not the worst because you can always be friends again. It's
Yeah.
not a bad breakup.
And on that, very good point. I recently spoke to my psychologist about this. She even said that it is completely acceptable for friendships to drift apart like that. Like, it is so normal and so okay. And I would say that that is the most common, but people are so uncomfortable with it because they don't know how to deal with it. But we'll get to that in the next segment.
The one-sided friendship, one person stops making contact and then you never speak again.
Oof.
That one, oh, that, yeah.
That hurts.
That hurts a bit.
Yeah. I'm going to say that's almost like a bit ghosting.
Yeah.
Yeah, going
Definitely.
ghost on your friend. And then I'm going to say having a big conflict. So there is like a huge blow up, whatever it may be. Some of the stuff I read in the question box, I was gutted over because some of you guys have been through some friends that have done you dirty, like really bad. And I feel so sad and I feel very, very heartbroken for you. But hopefully after this episode, we can leave you feeling a little bit better and with some practical tips in place to help you manage that if you're going through it.
And then we've got group friendships. So when the group separates and you don't catch up individually, that's a common one as well.
Definitely. It's always interesting when a group breaks off into their
Yeah.
little groups.
For sure.
And then I think I'm going to tell one of my friendship breakup stories. And I'm going to change the person's name because obviously I want to respect their privacy. But this was a friendship breakup that happened to me when I was in high school. Actually, it was probably like a year or so after I had finished high school. And I had gone to high school with this girl, let's call her Rachel, just for the purpose of the podcast. But we were what I would say like inseparable, like joined at the hip. Thought I was going to be best friends forever. We even got a matching tattoo. Now, would I get another matching tattoo? Probably, but I probably... But I had gotten a text which was very deep and meaningful. I'm going to tell you what the tattoo was. And I'm going to show it on the camera. It said, "A sister's promise."
Oh.
Cringe.
It's not cringe, but it's cute for the time.
It was cute for the time.
I have so many matching tattoos. Like, I'd get a matching tattoo if you just said, want to do it.
Should we do it?
Let's do it.
But can it be like an icon or something? Like, can it be like a
Yeah.
picture? No, not text. I think it was text. Anyway, I obviously covered it, right? But our friendship ended because, you know what, I'm going to say we had probably had a change in like values. There were other people coming into the friendship and we slowly drifted apart, but it devastated me. That was the first time I had like lost a friend and I was gutted. And I reckon that from that, it made it then really hard for me to go and like build new friends. And it wasn't until, so that friendship breakup I think happened when I was about 19. And it wasn't until I think I had met you in 2014 and then had gone to this gym I was training at where I had met my other friendship group from, that I had finally become open again to the possibility of like having more friends, because
For sure.
it really hurt. It really hurt. But I wanted to share that because it is normal and I have gone through it, and that's not the only friendship breakup that I've gone through, and I might make reference to other ones throughout the episode, but that was probably the worst one for me. Also, on the tattoo, do I regret covering it? Do I regret getting it? No.
Nah.
Do I regret covering it? No, because I love the new tattoo. But I do know now if I was to get a matching tattoo, I'd probably get a picture.
Yeah.
Or something.
Don't get their name.
No.
Just that's the only rule.
Name
no names.
and no text. I'm going to say the text is bad.
Depends what it is. Depends what it is.
All right. And I don't know. Suze, do you want to tell a story if you feel comfortable?
Yeah, I'll tell a story. So mine is more of a drift apart story. So basically, I was in a long-term relationship, and obviously when you're growing up together, making friends together, you form a partner group where you hang out with their friends and, you know, you make couple friends. And then when you break up, the couple friends are gone too, and so you've not only like lost your partner, but you've lost your whole circle of friends who you've made so many memories with, you know, traveled with, seen every week. And yeah, like you still follow each other on Instagram and see their lives, but that friendship's gone, and like for obvious reasons it's inevitable, but I feel like a lot of people would go through that, and it's, yeah, sucks a bit.
It does. Thank you for
But it
sharing
happens.
that. Yeah. And that's the thing,
Yeah.
right? We're just here to normalize it, show you that we've been through it as well. Now, guys, we are going to go through how to make it through a friendship breakup. And as I said at the start, I do think that regardless of whether you are the one that did the friendship breaking up or you were the one to have the friendship broken up with, I feel like it feels the same. And I spoke about this in episode 8, and I would actually recommend you going back and listening to episode number 8, which is like a breakup guide, and that was probably more tailored to relationship breakups. But I'm gonna say the tips or the process is the same. You treat it like you would a romantic breakup. And so tip number 1, as always, I'm here to say feel the feels. Okay, allow yourself to cry, allow yourself to grieve. You can listen to episode number 8 for some more info on that. And then tip number 2 from Suze.
Give yourself closure and accept the situation.
With that, I don't think that you need other people to give you closure. And I will always say that closure is what you get from yourself. You can always give that to yourself, and you can always tell yourself a story that feels better for you about it. And
Well, closure is accepting the situation. So
Yeah.
that's how you do it.
And what I would say is, for me, when I've lost a friendship, what I usually tell myself is that this person has left my life, and now it means that that makes space for my other friends
Exactly.
or someone else to come into my life.
Or yourself.
Correct.
Which we'll get to.
Yeah, we'll get there in a second. And then I'm going to say number 3, which is kind of intertwined with number 2, pour into new friendships and see what you can take away from the friendship. And I think all of the times I've lost a friend or, you know, drifted from a friend, I've tried to see, is there a lesson there that I can learn? Can I be a better friend next time?
There's so many people in the world. Like, people do want to be your friend.
Yeah. And on that, it's like, just because you had a friendship end doesn't mean that you're never going to make another friend or
Exactly.
that it's then impossible. Having a friendship that was really deep or like added a lot of value to your life should be able to show you that that is possible again.
Yeah, and you don't know who's going to love you in the future. There's probably heaps of people. So
Yeah.
your best friendship ever could be next week.
Around the corner.
Okay, so also lots of self-care and being nice to yourself. You can be your own best friend for a while, so that would really help.
Definitely. And what would you say in terms of like being your own best friend? Like, what does that look like? Just spending time alone, getting comfy in your own company?
Yeah, and the things you would say to your best friend if they were going through the same thing, you say to yourself, and you realize that you're actually whole on your own and you're okay on your own. And obviously you have your other friends, but you can be your friend too.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to say tip number 5 is focusing on the friends you do have.
Exactly.
So really like
Focusing.
Yeah, focusing more on those other friendships, because I don't know about you, and maybe you can agree with this, but there have definitely been times where I've had friends that have kind of been not super close friends, but then they've turned into super close friends.
Yeah, you go where you're appreciated. You know, like you can feel that energy of your friends if they appreciate you. So focus on them.
And then the last tip,
You can reach out to an old friend. So maybe people that you did uni with or that you had from your old job, and you know, those work wife like friend situations that you were so close to someone at your old job and then they decided to leave and you left and the friendship stopped there, but they were like such an important part of your life. They're really cool friendships. I've got so many of them, and you can literally reach out to those people.
Yeah, 100%. And
Yeah.
I think I notice that now, like having worked different jobs in my 20s, you make connections at work, and it's weird because sometimes the friendship never goes out of like
But you
the work hours.
You tell them your whole life,
Yeah.
and you're so invested in each other's story. You're like, guess what happened to me on the weekend, and it's so good.
So reach out to old friends, same as like, you know, maybe you may have been friends with someone in high school, you could reach out to them. Maybe it could be, you know, friends of friends that you met once upon a time. And
Exactly.
as I said, go back and listen to the episode as well on making friends. I can't remember what number that is, but I give you some like tips and tricks in there. And again, I'm going to say, remember, when people leave your life, it gives new people a chance to enter. And that's one of the things when I talk about abundance mindset. It's like one friend leaving doesn't mean no friends are coming. One friend leaving means, oh, there's new energy there. There's new space there for someone else to come in.
Definitely.
And then I was most excited for this segment. We are talking about what makes a good friend. And then we're going to tell you the red flags too. Keep in mind,
So
these are
green
our
flags.
yeah, green flags, red flags, and these are just ours.
Yeah,
There are probably more out there,
definitely.
but we're just going to tell you ours.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to start?
I'll start. So you can be yourself around them. Definitely.
We love that.
They don't judge you. They add value to your life, and you support and celebrate each other, which is what we're doing now. Yes.
So important.
You need to celebrate each other, because why not? Like,
Literally. And even something that I love doing, and Susan's even done this to me, like sometimes she'll just send me like a random message and be like, I appreciate having you in my life. And I'm like, oh,
because
cry. And that's just like made my day.
Yeah,
But I'll do the same thing back to her or my other friends as well.
it's so important, and that also goes back to focusing on the friends you do have.
Yeah.
You know, you should be pouring into your friends.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, safe and mutual respect.
I think with that, when we say safety and mutual respect, it is you feel safe in the friendship to talk about things, and you know, you respect each other. If there is something that comes up, like the conversation is not negative, and sorry, I've just gone into the next one, the next green flag, but your conversations are about like your life, goals, growth, not about gossip. I think this is so important
Exactly.
because I have definitely had friendships that were based on like gossip especially in my early 20s.
Yeah.
And then I realized that if people are talking shit about others to me, they're talking shit about me too. Right?
True, exactly. That's the safety part.
Yeah.
You want to feel like safe with
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah, and like you would have your friends back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Got your back.
Yeah. Safe.
Okay, so another green flag is conversations about life. We spoke about this.
Yep.
Goals, growth, all the things you're doing. I can remember, it literally felt like yesterday, we went for dinner and Adele was like, you know, I'm thinking of starting a YouTube channel and I'm thinking of starting a podcast, and, you know, we're eating our pasta. And we're like, yeah, that's so good. And she literally did it. We're sitting here recording a podcast, honestly.
That
like-
night was actually so funny.
Yeah.
Can I just tell everyone a story from that night?
Yeah.
So we're eating our dinner. Where did we go?
We went
Grady?
to Crown, yeah.
We went to Grady at Crown, and we're eating the pasta, minding our own business, and the waiter brings over this bottle of wine. Because there was I'm going to say, a hot man in the restaurant by himself that thought Suze was hot and sent over a bottle of wine for us and his number.
Oh my god.
I have to just tell that story because that stuff happens all the time to us when we're together.
Every
and
time we're out, something like
we
that
have fun
happens.
stories. We have fun stories. But thank you. You have always been very supportive of me, and vice versa. Like, I think I'm the biggest cheerleader of the people around me because I want to see them shine. I want to see them thrive. I want them to know that like I believe in them, especially with any of the goals that you have, any of the visions that you have, anything that you're working towards. I will always, always be in your corner. And we're going to go through the last two green flags, which I'll pass over to Suze.
So they tell you the truth, not what you want to hear, but with kindness.
Yes.
I need that. I need that a lot.
Sometimes, and I think it's the Aries in me, sometimes I'm a bit harsh in my delivery. And when I've been harsh, I have apologized, but I am,
Tough love, it's good.
yeah,
We
because,
need that.
and you know what, I expect the same because I don't want to just be told
Fluffy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
and I
sure.
think when you're getting advice and if you're asking for advice as well, you want to know that your friend has your best interests at heart rather than them just trying to tell you something to like save the
Yeah, just what they want to hear, like, oh yeah, sure.
And then the last one,
Have fun together and you enjoy each other's company. Like, if that's not the biggest green flag,
yeah.
your friendships, you need to enjoy each other's company.
Yeah, I'm
Full
going to
stop.
add, absolutely, and I'm going to add one more, which is kind of intertwined with that, but it's like, when you do see your friends, it's almost like no time has passed
Yes.
as well. Because
you pick up where you left off and you're like,
Yeah.
hey.
And I think I felt that with our friendship, even while I was in Sydney. I was in Sydney for nearly 4 years, and I would come home every once in a while, or you would come to Sydney. I remember you came to Sydney.
Yeah.
I think it was in like 2019. It was in 2019. And firstly, I was so excited that she visited me. For me, it was like I had not seen you for I think maybe like 6 or 8 months at a time.
Yeah,
and it was like no time had passed. We were just picked up where we left off,
Yeah, that's important.
which I love. And then, guys, we're going to go into red flags. And so
Red flags.
this is basically everything we just said, but the opposite.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, firstly, one-sided friendship. So
Does not feel good.
no, that looks like you're being the only one making the effort, organizing the thing. Sometimes you can even feel like a bit of like a backup friend as well.
Yeah.
Red flag
definitely.
there.
It's just does not feel good.
No, and then I'm going to say any kind of like controlling behavior, judgmental behavior, or even just like speaking to you poorly, like really negatively. Your friends should not be doing that.
Yeah, 100%.
No, because the friends are the people that you pick to be in your life, right? And it's almost like that saying, you're like the 5 people that you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you've got people speaking to you negatively or speaking down to you or controlling you or judging you, that will rub off on you as well. So it's almost
more
like
that judgmental. You're like, well, I can't be myself, so what do I have to change myself in this friendship? That's a huge red flag.
I've also said friendship based on gossip, which we touched on a little bit earlier, and the same as them maybe pressuring you into things. I'm going to say I had friendship circles in my early 20s that, it wasn't even a direct pressure, but there was peer pressure there with like partying and alcohol and substances. And pick the company you keep wisely. I'm also going to say they're not there for you and they're dismissive of your issues. Now, we kind of spoke about this in the car because I guess as we've gotten older, we've also gotten better at dealing with our shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And there are times in my life where I'm going through it, but I also know that Suze is doing something or she's got a lot on her plate, and I know it's like not the time to dump my emotional stuff onto her. But if I ever was to go to her and say, you know, I need advice here or I'm feeling upset, and you guys will see in my vlog this week on YouTube, I was very upset on Saturday night and I was texting Suze at the wedding. Watch the vlog because you'll see why. And I was texting Suze and I was upset, and she was there for me at like 11 p.m. on the Saturday night, you know. She's not dismissive. She is always there for me, and I love that. And that's a green flag, but red flag if they're not.
Exactly. And then also you feel like you can't bring up issues or communication is difficult. That's sort of similar. I think this might be not so much a red flag, more green, but sometimes you do see your friend going through something, so you don't have to take out like an hour of your life, but you're like, okay, they're going through something, let me just let them vent for 5 minutes, and that's all they need. So like, if you just break them down and say, don't bring this up to me or something, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Just give them the time that they need, because that's a good friend.
Yeah, I love that. And that's the thing, sometimes it is just 5 minutes that can make
Just let, vent
Make a
to me,
difference.
and I'm listening.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to find solutions.
Definitely.
Just vent it out.
Okay, I feel like that needs to be a whole podcast
Yeah.
episode. There is a difference between listening and then giving advice, and usually when someone vents to us, our default is to give them advice.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a bit better at being like, do you want me to listen or do you want
Yeah.
advice?
Yeah, and just listen, and
Yeah.
just don't give so much unless they ask for it, because they don't want you to solve your problem.
I just want to be heard.
Yeah.
Have
for
that
sure.
space. There was one other thing I forgot to add on the run sheet, but I was going to add it and now I can't remember. I'll try and
Red
remember.
flags?
Yeah, it was,
Oh.
I think it was like a green flag, but anyway, I'll try and remember it before the end of the episode. But we are going to jump into the listener questions. Now, we are going to go through the first one, which is, do you ghost your friend or do you mention not wanting to remain friends? What do you
Okay, so
What do you think?
I don't know if it's showing my age, but like, when did ghosting become the thing to do?
Yeah.
Like, it depends. I don't know. I'm just like, ghosting just, it leaves too much space for people to create their own
Yeah.
assumption.
Yeah. I'm going to say
Ghosting and drifting is not the same.
no, correct. Ghosting I feel like is a cold, deletes off socials, never talks to you again,
Yeah, like,
complete line in the sand, whereas I feel like the drift is that gradual thing. And I guess, I don't know, maybe sometimes we can confuse the two. I'm going to say I'm not a fan of ghosting
No.
romantically.
yeah.
Not a fan of ghosting in a friendship either. But I also think that sometimes you might be the friend trying to let the drift happen, but the other person is really clinging to the friendship. And I think we will talk about this later about, you know, kind of, this is not a question, but what to do if you're thinking about ending a friendship. But what I would say is, if the person is, I guess, pressuring you, sometimes you might have to give them a reason. And I'm going to say, obviously, you may want to call them to have that conversation. If it's a longer friendship, maybe you want to see them in person. If it's like a short-term friendship, is a text acceptable? Maybe. I'm going to say it might be.
Depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Really.
But you can let them know that, thank you so much. I have really appreciated our friendship up until this point. However, we've grown apart. I may have outgrown the friendship, and I think it might be best if we leave it where it was. I'm really grateful for everything over the last, months or years. I wish you all the best, and try to move forward in a way. I do want to say, if you are mentioning to someone that you're not wanting to be friends, do it with kindness, do it with respect, do it with care, because that can potentially hurt them more if you are being a bit brutal. But I'm going to say, I need more context here.
Yeah.
So
Depends on what happened.
There might be times where it's okay to ghost them, but I'm going to say, if you can try the drift, I don't know, or if you can send that message or have that call, it might be a little bit better. Question number 2 is, how do you approach your friend, tell your friend what is bothering you without it becoming a conflict? And I think this is very important because, again, sometimes we're not given like the tools or taught how to communicate things. I would say it depends as well on what it is. Again, sometimes it might be in person, sometimes it might be a text thing, sometimes it might be a call thing. I think if it's not so serious, maybe you can send a text. I don't know.
Well, it depends if you need to talk about it, because some things do need to be talked about. So, you don't want it to become conflict, but you do need to have a chat about it.
Yeah.
So,
and I think communication is key, and uncomfortable conversations will save your friendships.
Yeah, for sure.
And your relationships. If you are wanting to have a chat to a friend about something, firstly, kind of unpack what you're feeling. Try to do a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for, like self-soothing with it. Like, unpack what exactly has caused this. Unpack what emotions you're feeling. And that's more so you can equip yourself to...
Don't talk to them in a state of like anger and you just want to rip their head off. Like,
yes,
do a meditation before and like chill, and then have the conversation.
Yeah, that's what I was getting
Or like
at.
maybe don't have the chat as soon as you're like angry with each other. Like, let it slide a bit and then say, okay, can we talk next week?
And
think
so,
about it first. Don't just be like,
yeah, get yourself in a position where like you're feeling equipped to have the conversation and your emotion is like a bit more neutral. And then once you let them know you want to have the chat. As I said before, make sure you're using kindness. Always be kind. And even use a lot of I statements. So maybe it's like, I felt whatever emotion you felt because of this situation, and that didn't make me feel good, or I didn't feel good when this happened. So you're taking ownership for what you're feeling, and that also can then just like not make your friend feel attacked as well.
Exactly.
Takes that ownership. And then what would you say then in the conversation?
Yeah, well then you need to listen to them and hear what they've got to say, and then you'll probably just... Like, how many times you've had an apology and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry this happened, and then you're still close again. You just had to talk about it. Like,
It makes sense. And as I said, make sure you're just mindful in the conversation. And if you need to work towards an outcome where you both feel seen, maybe it's an apology or change behavior, then
resolve it.
Yeah. Better, because what happens is when you don't, let's say your friend does something that upsets you and you don't.
And you never speak about it ever. You're just holding on to that.
How bad is that?
Yeah.
It builds resentment.
Exactly.
And then that can show up in other ways down the track in the friendship.
But usually when you're good friends and you say, hey, like, that time last week, you're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I should have thought about it. And then you're closer.
Yeah.
Like, it's
but
so
that's if
normal.
you've got a green flag friendship, a healthy friendship.
Yeah.
If you don't, it can be very different.
Yeah.
circumstance.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, this is where I want to mention because I thought I forgot, but I put on the run sheet. So, before ending a friendship, and not that it's related to this question, but I do like to think long and hard about it. And I guess my first thought is like, always try and save it if you can.
Yeah.
Obviously, situation permitting, sometimes they've done really bad things and you don't want to save the friendship. That's fair and well, you know. But if your friendship is on the rocks or you think your friendship is struggling, I'm going to say pour more into it. Treat your friend even better, show them more love, show them more kindness, and see how that then goes before giving up on it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that might be all it needs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then we've got 2 more questions. Do you want to read out the next one?
So how do you deal with the friendship breakup when you're part of the same group?
Mm-hmm. And I feel like this was a good question to have in because you spoke about that a little bit. And I would say that I would suggest, and I haven't really gone through this because all my relationships, I've like known the friends of my partners, but I wasn't very intertwined.
So I feel like your first like group friendship is when you leave high school.
Yeah.
And you've got your friends at school and, you know, like naturally you all do different things and you do have that drift. So there can be friendship breakups there.
Yeah.
The partner one is another one. I mean, you can make group friendships throughout your life, but I think they're the big two
That is spot on.
that
But you
we
know what?
experience.
I reckon I just had, so in high school I had Rachel, that one friend.
Yeah.
And then I had a boyfriend in high school. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
And then when I left, I wasn't really friends with his friends, but I wasn't in a friendship group with her either.
Yeah.
But I will say that maybe it was a friendship in my early 20s where the group kind of broke off into 2.
Yeah.
But what I would say there is don't expect people to take sides.
Exactly.
But they might, and
They
don't take
will.
that personally.
Yeah. And of course they're gonna, because they were either friends with the other friends before you. Like, how many times have you had a group of friends and then they bring in a friend and you become friends with that friend? Like, there's always going to be a side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I would say it also might then be a sign that you might need to make some new connections or make some new friends.
Yeah, or maybe your friendships aren't just the same group.
I'm also going to say I'm a huge advocate for like quality, not quantity.
Yeah.
I would rather have 3 friends than like 30 friends.
But like, we've tried to have group friends before,
Yeah.
and they just like
It never works.
like we just go off on our own,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it does.
Like, and it's not saying it's bad because groups are fun, but
You can have different groups,
Yeah.
basically. Different
So-
groups for different things.
if your friendship group breaks up, it's not the worst thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's just growing up.
And then you can find
Yeah.
a different group.
Exactly.
I like it. And there's a note here on the run sheet which is don't force connection or hold on to it
Yeah.
just because you have memories. And I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Because there's this like saying that I like, one of my favorite quotes. It's like, how you let go of things, like let go of things gracefully. Let go of things not meant for you gracefully. And that includes friends as well.
Yeah.
You know, wish them the best.
Like the butterfly, like let it go.
Yeah.
Okay, so act like the friend you want to attract. So
Yeah.
you may have fallen apart because you've outgrown those ones.
Yep.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
So I think a good example for that is find your new interests and then say, you know, I'm the type of person who does yoga, and then be that person. You show up to yoga, then you make friends with the friends who do yoga. Like, if you are in the wrong friendship group, it's probably because you've outgrew them and you're not the same. So you need to start acting as the person you want to be to have the friends that you truly value.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And on that, it's okay to outgrow people.
Yeah.
It's so okay, guys. Like, I can obviously, some of my friendship have survived me changing as a person, but I have changed so much. If I look back to Adele, I'm 29 now. If I look at 19-year-old Adele, completely different person. Same on the inside, deep down, but like, I've changed a lot. I've gone through phases. I went through a
100%.
powerlifting phase at one
Yeah.
point. I had friends from that era of my life. Went through the party phase, had friends from that era. I'm still in the dog phase. I've got friends from the dog park. Like, you just, with the interests and like acting like, you know, the friends you want to attract, huge yes to that. And I'm going to jump into the next point, which we've written down, which it also may have been temporary. So, you know, letting the conflict pass. You never know what the future holds, and you never know what or who can come back into your life down the track. And I've seen it with other people as well, where friendships have faded and then they've reconnected down the track, which is really cute. And then, guys, we're going to jump into the last question, which is how to move forward with trusting new people after a friend betrayal. Now, I feel like this is intertwined with the grief and the closure that we mentioned above. And I think it can really hurt when a friend does you dirty and when a friend betrays you in certain ways. And some of the stuff I read in the Q&A, as I said, it was sad for me to read that some of you have gone through some really hurtful things. And, you know, it can be then hard to want to trust people and want to let people in. But you guys know I advocate for, like, connection on this podcast. I don't ever come on here and say, you don't need anyone, you need to be an individual. You know, what was it in our 20s? It was like that boss babe. Doesn't need anyone. That was very toxic.
No, I'm not about being a boss.
No, I don't want to be a boss babe either.
No.
I just want to vibe with, like, friends that have the same values and, like, you know, possible partner that has the same values and have a happy life.
Yeah.
But I think if you've gone through that, give yourself the space to let it go. Give yourself the space to heal from it, and then be open to new connections, because life is short and friends make the good stories and adventures and memories.
Yeah, and, like, do you really want to be with friends with those type of people anyway?
Yes.
Definitely not.
Yeah, and it's almost like a blessing that they showed their true colours.
Exactly. So it's better that it ended than you're friends with someone who would, betray you in a way like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never really experienced a friendship betrayal, but I do know that they happen. People go through some things that are crazy.
Yeah, same. I haven't gone through it, and I'm very grateful that I haven't gone through it. But if I were to go through it, and if you have gone through it, like I always say, once you've had something, that should show you that you can have it again. Yeah. And if your friendship was, like, really deep and really meaningful and meant a lot, and this betrayal has crushed you and crushed your world, allow yourself to feel that pain, but then know that, like, you could still have that friendship with someone else moving forward. And not everyone is like that.
And the trash took itself out.
Yeah, literally. And, you know, I always talk about evidence, and I always talk about seeing what other people have. And I guess that's even another reason why I wanted you on the episode, because I obviously wanted people to, like, hear our dynamic, hear how we have very similar beliefs and values, and just to show you that there are friends out there that exist like that. There are friends out there that will have your back, friends out there that will add good value into your life, friends out there that will come onto your podcast when you ask them 2 days before, and then, you know, make the podcast even better. So thank you. But it is possible, and you can move forward, and you can trust new people. And I'm not going to say my number one tip, but what I would say is practice trusting people.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to. Give them the chance to be your friend. Give them the chance to deepen that relationship, and, you know,
give
work
them
from
the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Before you say, okay, I can't trust this one person, I can't trust anyone ever again, because it's not true.
Yeah, and it's a very all or nothing mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
And we want to kind of move away from that, because, you know, we don't really want to do the black and white thinking. Sometimes people can be shit and hurt us. Other times they can be amazing and, you know, love us and be really good for us. And it is out there, and I want you to know that it is out there.
Yeah, and maybe another tip for that, we were talking about this at brunch the other day. If you do have issues trusting people, you don't have to have the most meaningful, deep friendship straight away. Like, you can have a shallow friendship to start with, and then slowly it develops into a deep friendship.
Yes, I love that.
So you don't have to be, like, full trust, full steam ahead. You can have that, yeah.
Slow build.
Exactly.
Definitely. And I'm going to say, I think I'm a slow...
Yeah.
I think it takes a while for me to really...
A brick by brick
Yeah.
girl.
Slowly knocking down that wall.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think just in general it does take me a little bit longer to, like, let the wall down, but there's nothing wrong with that. You also don't have to air everything or, like, take that wall down in the first time you're catching up with them. The slow opening up.
Yeah.
And it's just building that trust with each other, which takes time.
Yeah.
Can take time. But guys, I think we can wrap the episode there. How are you feeling after your first podcast with me?
I feel good. It's just like we're chatting.
I know, it's great.
And it's fun.
Thank you. I want to say thank you, a very big thank you for joining me. This episode needed you on it, and needed your energy, and needed your wisdom, and I'm so glad that I get to share you with all the listeners, because Suze is amazing, and I wish that all of you could have a friend like Suze, because she really is so special. But thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to say how proud I am of you and everything you've done. And yeah, thanks for having me. Now we're going to cry on the podcast.
Don't make me cry.
So,
right.
yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Would you come back?
Yes.
Okay, amazing.
What can we talk about?
We can talk about...
We literally talk about anything.
I've got so many topics. And I think it's cool having another person on with me, because obviously I can carry the show by myself, guys, but it is nicer when you've got someone to, like, bounce off and hear perspectives. And that's the cool thing about friends, you know. Sometimes you might have different perspective on things, or you might have a different way that you might handle something, and it just makes life even better when you've got friends like that in your corner. But I'm going to say, we're going to wrap it here because we've chatted off your ears. If you like this episode, please leave me a review or a rating. You can leave me a rating on Spotify. You can leave me a review on Apple. Tell your friends about it. Share it on your story. As I have said many times, I appreciate your support. But podcasts do not have an algorithm. So the only way that this gets known is if I post about it on my social media or if you tell your people about it, and that means a lot to me. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Suze.
Thank you.
I hope that you have a great week ahead. I'm pointing to Suze. I hope that you guys have a great week ahead. And I hope that something magical happens to you guys.
Yes.
All right. We'll speak to you next time. Bye. The Your Safe Space podcast is recorded on Wurundjeri land. This podcast acknowledges the traditional owners and custodians of the land. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Oh. Are you sweating? I'm sweating. That was so good.
We did it. We did good.
You're amazing.
You reckon?
Yes.
I was like,
You're natural.
amazing.
You're a podcaster.
Yeah,
gotta come back.
It wasn't hard at all.
No? Guys,
No.
we're still on. All right. I hope you like that. I'm going to turn you off. We're going to debrief.